praises and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai Bahasham Ha Rakak Kwadash, double honors unto our apostle elders which rule great millstone. Wow. And shalom to the hopeful elect. May you endure into the end. Shalom wa abba baba. I want to rejoice in knowing this truth that Yahweh has given us through his mercy, through his son, Yahushai. His mercy endureth forever. Okay, and this is evidence of his mercy. The so-called white man, the red devil, the Bible speaks of, Esau, Edom, the wicked that rule the world. Let's go to Job 9, verse 24. Everything's updating this morning because we're almost July 1st. Today is June 29th, 2023, the year that we pray and hope that Yahweh and his son Yahushai fulfill all the prophecies that are written. Now it says in Job 9 verse 24, it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Okay, if it ain't the so-called white man, then who fits the prophecies and the history of the wicked-ass Edomite? Only the so-called Caucasian. All right? Now, in Isaiah 57, all right, it says, which this whole chapter has its title, Evil Leaders Rebuked, right? So, look, it says, let me get from 19. It says, Isaiah 57, verse 19, I create the fruit of the lips, which, of course, this is Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. See, right here it says, in verse 15, for thus saith the high and lofty one that inhabiteth eternity, whose name is holy, which that's not his literal name. Holy is his name, Yahweh. And his name is revealed to us through Yahushai, his son. I dwell in the high and holy place with him also that is of a contrite and humble spirit. So he deals with men, the Israelite men, that are humble and contrite, meaning they're brokenhearted over the abominations that are committed in this place. It says to revive the spirit of the humble and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. For I will not contend forever, neither will I be always wroth. For the spirit should fail before me, and the souls which I have made, which the Lord says in Psalms 103. It says, I'll start at 2. It says, serve Yahweh with gladness, come before his presence with singing. Know ye that Yahweh, he is power. He's the same power that raised Yahushai from the dead. It is he that hath made us, right? We were made by Yahweh's power, and not we ourselves. We didn't form ourselves in our mother's womb, right? We are his people, right? We are the Israelites, Yasharallah, the princes of the power, and there's order in our kingdom. In fact, we are the most righteous kingdom there is, but right now we are in slavery under the wicked, the so-called white men. All right, but soon tables are going to turn, and that's why there'll be peace forever, because the righteous will be ruling forever, which are his people, the Israelites, the so-called Negroid and indigenous, including the Hispanic people of America, North, South, Central, and the Caribbean, which have been scattered throughout the world amongst all nations, right, as slaves. All right, it says, and the sheep of his pasture, which he's going to take care of us, right? That's why we got the leader, Yahushai. He's the shepherd. Okay? Verse 4, enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Kala Yabashim Yashai. Double honors to the apostle elders, which taught us the truth, which introduced us to Yahweh Shai. And through Yahweh Shai are we able to access the power of Yahweh and bless his name, all right? And speak good of him, serve him, Yahweh, but you got to serve him through his son, Yahweh Shai. You got to honor his son, which his son established the apostleship. That's why you got to give double honors to the apostle elders, which rule Great Millstone, all right? Starting with the head apostle elders down to the younger apostle elders, which travel and, endure with the camps, throughout the camps are throughout the world, but you got elders, right? They're also apostles because they're out doing this good work of spreading this truth amongst all nations, looking for the hopeful elect throughout all the world. We're using YouTube, but we're able to reach all over the world, right? We've been sent out, apostle, elders, you got your leadership, starting with the head apostle elders, right, which are in New York, teaching this truth. This is why we give them double honors. Give honor where honor is due. For Yahweh is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generations. So his righteousness is immortal. And that's why the elect that cleave unto his righteousness, they are immortal. Even if they die in the flesh, they will get a new body immediately and be in the spirit world, free from all mortal suffering. No, it's Wisdom of Solomon. Let me see. Chapter 1, verse 15. For righteousness, which is his righteousness, Yahweh Shem Yahshai, because if you read up, that's who's, it's speaking of. Verse 13. For Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai made not death, neither hath he pleasure in the destruction of the living, because he created everything for a purpose and to have its time. But you got the wicked, which want to destroy everything, right? So he's angry with them, wicked, every day. Including, he wants to destroy, the wicked want to destroy his people, his favorite people, the Israelites. It says, for he created all things that they might have their being, living, existing. Because, the way you see the power of Yahweh is through the operations of everyday life. The interactions between two people, that's the power of Yahweh. Whether it's good or whether it's wicked. All right? It says, and the generations of the world were healthful, and there is no poison of destruction in them, which he created everything to be good. But we sinned, right? The woman Eve, she brought death in, trying to be over her man, Adam, and Adam followed his woman, and Eve, being in sin, being the one in transgression, brought death in the world, right? And Yahweh Shai, being Adam, he's going to come back as a new Adam, all right? That second Adam being perfect, being a God and not a man, all right? It says, and there is no poison of destruction in them, nor the kingdom of death upon the earth. So when the righteous kingdom is set up on earth, there ain't going to be no death for the Israelite. There ain't going to be no evil on the earth for the Israelite. It's going to be all good, right? Whether it's evil to the other nations or good to the other nations, it ain't going to bother us because we're going to be sitting, as they say, on a high horse. We're going to be in the power seat, all right? Under Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai's righteousness, which is immortal. See, the wicked, the so-called white man is forfeiting their throne. Look at what the hell they're doing. Look at this article. Michigan House passes hate speech bill to fine and jail parents, teachers, pastors, and politicians who speak the truth. See? Who is the devil? Who is the devil if it ain't the so-called white man? right? Their president swears on a Bible that he's going to uphold the laws of the Bible. Then he writes laws to promote against the Bible, right? It says the Michigan state legislature is pushing forward a new hate speech bill that threatens anyone who speaks the truth on a variety of controversial and inherently offensive topics. The proposed legislation, HB 4474, does more than threaten the First Amendment and the free speech rights of Americans. The proposed legislation amends the state's Ethnic Intimidation Act of 1988, making it a hate crime if a person causes severe mental anguish to another individual. That's what they're saying we're doing by being out there and preaching the Bible as we've been commanded from Yahweh Shai. It tells you that in Matthew 28, and it's 28 verse 18. And Yahweh Shai came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. So this is after he was resurrected. He was given all authority from his Father in heaven. Yahweh gave Yahweh Shai this power, which is his power. That's why he comes in the glory of his Father. All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them, which is to submerge them in this word, in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Because what does it say? Where two or more are gathered in my name, I am there in the midst of them. All right, because the interactions between men, that's the will of Yahweh. That's him pulling on the reins of a man's brain, controlling him, whether it's good or whether it's evil. All right, so the other nations, they're going to despise us for teaching this truth. It says, verse 9, Yahweh Shai is prophesying, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Because we're in all these different nations prophesying of the return of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, which is the judgment of all these other nations. Obadiah 15. For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. So they're panicking, right? That's why they're bringing out this new world order. This is them panicking. All right? Now let's go back to Isaiah 57. It says, verse 17, Isaiah 57:17. For the iniquity of his covetousness was I wroth, and smote him. I hid me, and was wroth, and he went on frowardly in the way of his heart. I have seen his ways, and will heal him, dealing with the Israelites. I will lead him also, and restore comforts unto him, and to his mourners. We're the ones that are crying. It says the innocent cry all day, every day. We're always complaining. The righteous is always complaining. I create the fruit of the lips. Who caused us to complain? Was Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. And what are we complaining about? You know, first we were sorry that we sinned, right? But then now we're also crying about who the wicked is and what he's done, his notorious acts. All right? It says, I create the fruit of the lips, peace, peace to him that is far off and to him that is near, saith Yahweh, and I will heal him. Right? But the wicked, this is dealing with that so-called white man that is pushing, hate speech crimes to the prophets. Right? It says here, this means that parents, teachers, pastors, activists, which they could put us under any of those, right? We're parents, brothers got kids, got families. It says teachers, we're teaching the Bible. Pastors, that's what we are. We're the sheep of his pasture. So what do? We go and we eat the whole roll and then we go out and teach it. It says activists, right, which they consider us also activists, and politicians can be charged, which I believe that's in there, because you got secret, disciples that are listening to these videos in high ranks. You got Jake in high levels, and they're listening to these videos and being converted. It says can be charged with hate crimes if their speech upsets someone who is weak-minded, which, these Edomites are sorry, and vindictive. Now, this word vindictive has a special meaning. It says vindictive, having or showing a strong or unreasoning desire for revenge. Right? It gives an example. The criticism was both vindictive and personalized. Right? And what are the similar words to this? Vengeful, revengeful, avenging, unforgiving, resentful, ill-disposed, bitter, spiteful, mean-spirited, right? So they're pretty much complaining about us complaining, all right? And we have to complain. We've been obligated to complain, all right? It tells you right here in Isaiah 57, verse 20, but the wicked are like the troubled sea. All right, the wicked, they really don't know what's happening because they don't have that connection to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, which Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai has told us what he's doing, making us sons, more than servants. When it cannot rest, those waters cast up mire and dirt. All right, which Esau, it says he can't rest unless he does evil. Right, but now every time he does evil, he's being revealed for doing those acts. So he's becoming angry. This is why it says he's going to come down with great wrath, knowing that he has but a short time. And this is evidence of him doing that. Because watch what it says. It says, new hate speech laws are reminiscent. Let's get that word real quick.
Reminiscent.
Reminiscent. It says tending to remind one of something, right? Tending to remind one of something. And what Esau wants to do is he wants to remind us that we're slaves and he's in power. All right? But he forfeited his power through his wicked decrees. It says in Isaiah 10:1, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, which the needy is the Israelite, which there is no justice here in America, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, which they're doing that through that implantable microchip, which they're going to make mandatory for buying and selling. That widows may be their prey, right? Because they're going to take away the resources so that they can pretty much twist your arm to force you through deception into taking that implantable microchip, right? They're shutting off the lights, and then the lights that they're going to turn on are FEMA camps, which they're going to say you got to have this implantable microchip in your body to be part of the new system, which when the new system comes alive after they change it, right, from the fiat currency, from the paper dollar to that digital currency, it's eventually going to lead to the implantable microchip, which is the wallet for a CBDC. All right? It says that that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And rob them of what? Salvation. The fatherless are the Israelites. Right? They've told us all our lives in slavery that we've been bastards. Right? That's why they're able to mistreat us and abuse us, because God looked like them. The Savior looked like them. The so-called white man. Right? So we had no hope. But now that the truth is coming out, Jake, even though we were hopeless, in a hopeless situation, the Lord showed his mercy, and now we're coming from that dead state to being alive, and that's why the so-called white man is panicking. And this is what they're doing, and they're, because they have no other move but to become violent. And their violence, they have to come down with great wrath, knowing that they have but a short time, because they're weak. All right? They're not strong. Remember, it said about the Ham that we could have beat Ham to death with our bare hands. In the time we were enslaved under the Egyptians, which the Hamites were giants. The Canaanites that we fought and took the land of Canaan, these were giants that we fought. And we could have done it with our bare hand. So how much more Esau, which is a weak man, the weakest of all man. See? So this is why the Lord gave him that gun, right? And he's going to come down with great wrath with that gun, and he's been given a nuclear missile, and he's going to use it. You better believe it. This world will see a nuclear destruction, all right, of magnitude you don't even understand. No one does, all right, where the earth is going to shake, a great violent earthquake. It says, new hate speech laws are reminiscent of Soviet-style re-education camps. If an alleged victim feels uncomfortable with someone's speech, they can accuse that person of a hate crime. The proposed legislation doesn't look at the intent of the speech, like you trying to warn them of destruction. It only considers the feelings of the alleged victim. So anyone coming by, they can say, you offended me with what you said, because the Bible says it's against homosexual people, right? It's against that activity, especially amongst the Israelites. Now, they could put you in jail for it, right? They could say that you are a threat to society. You are a terrorist. Pointing out the fact that that image of so-called Jesus Christ is a lie, that Yahweh Shai is a true black man, right? He's a so-called black man, I should say, so-called. But the truth is that it says that he is a so-called black man. I should say it like that, right? That's offensive. So then they'll be able to put us into prison, just like it's been prophesied. It says that they're going to try to put us into prison. Revelation 2:10, it says, fear none of, and once again, Yahweh Shai is prophesying, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. How will they cast us into prison? Just like this. They're making laws against us and what we say. All right? It says that this would happen. It says, Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. So that's a period of time, a complete period of time that you're going to be in there for a purpose, and then you're going to be, either the Lord's going to allow you to live or die. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So, whether the prison walls fall down around you and you come out, a better man, or you, die in there being beheaded for the testimony of Yahushua, you get a crown of life either way. You're going to, just as long as you endure faithfully into the end. All right? Because what they're going to do is they're going to come down with great violence, knowing that they have but a short time. And this shows that they're desperate, because violence is pretty much the last act of hope. It says in verse 70 of 2nd Ezra 16, For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Right here. Right? New hate speech laws are reminiscent of Soviet-style re-education camps. And where did we leave off? We left off right here. It says, it only considers the feeling of the alleged victim. The bill will lead to the prosecution of conservatives, pastors, and parents attending a school board meeting for simply expressing their opposition to the liberal agenda, Coleman said. So how they got that homosexual activity in there? It even said that if you were to point out the homosexual right here, I'll start right. Let me point it out right there. I'll start. A parent who speaks out at a school board meeting could be accused of a hate crime if they exposed transgender pornography in their child's classroom under the Orwellian law. The possibilities for abuse are endless, right? So you can't speak out against them no more, or they're going to put you in a torture chamber, right? Look, it says, the bill defines intimidation and harassment as willful course of conduct involving repeated or continuing harassment of another individual that would cause a reasonable individual to feel terrorized, frightened, intimidated, threatened, harassed, or molested, according to attorney David Coleman of the Great Lakes Justice Center. The proposed legislation is a threat to the First Amendment, honest speech, and the very essence of the English language. Words are malleable, he said. They can be refined by whoever is in power. Right now they got the technology to even do more, where they're actually able to make a fake video of you through their AI saying something that isn't true. Right? It says, under the proposed statute, intimidate and harass can mean whatever the victim or the authorities want them to mean, he said. So this is an attorney telling you this. The focus is on how the victim feels, which it shouldn't matter about how a person feels, right? Because you're supposed to be free. They said this is the home of the brave and home of the free. Free means you're free from feeling, worrying about how someone feels about something. So then this shows you that, America is nothing more than a FEMA camp. You're in captivity already, all right, subject to payment. It says, the focus is on how the victim feels rather than on a clearly defined criminal act. right? So they can say, I felt like he was going to hurt me, even though you didn't have no intent, but that's enough to get you put into these re-education camps now in America. This is a ridiculously vague and subjective standard, right? Because it's pretty much going to make everyone a criminal. And according to their 16th Amendment, they could make you a slave again through their, which you are a slave. They never let you free, but they play these games, these mind games on society, you know. But America is nothing more than one big ass prison. And this dumb devil, the wicked, they've enslaved themselves. You know, the low level wicked that are, low level on understanding, they're actually enslaved with us. They, just like a prison guard, he goes to prison every day too. He sits in a prison all day long too, just like that inmate. All right? When he goes home, he's thinking about that prison. So that's what Esau's done to himself. This is his heaven, and he's enslaved the Israelites, and he put himself in a prison now. Right? He's weakened the nations to a point to where he's weakened himself. Right? It says, the punishment for these so-called hate crimes includes a fine of up to $10,000, up to 5 years in prison, or both. And that's why it's coming to a point where there's going to be a famine of the word. Right? Amos 8, verse 11. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, the supreme power, Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. And this is because his son comes through the volume of the book. Psalms 40, verse 7. Then said I, lo, I come, in the volume of the book it is written of me. Hebrews 10, verse 7. Then said I, lo, I come, in the volume of the book it is written of me, to do thy will, O Yahweh. Which, this is speaking of Yahushai, right? Psalms, it was prophesied. Hebrews, it was fulfilled. Yahushai came, and he's the Messiah. The Word was made flesh. And Yahushai is his name, and he is described as a so-called black man. The exact image of his father, Yahweh. Right? It says, there is no, Isaiah 57, verse 21, there is no peace, saith my power, to the wicked. Right? So when they do these things, bad things happen to them. Okay? Let me show you. Revelation 13 and 6. It says in verse 6, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Yahweh and his son Yahushai, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, which are his men, the ones that are teaching this truth, the true pastors, the true leaders of the nation of Israel, and them that dwell in heaven. The angels, they talking shit too. They're saying they're reptilian, they're little weak, feeble, little gray men. They're crashing their aircraft, right? So they're talking mad shit about Yahweh, about his son Yahushai being a so-called white man, right, named Jesus Christ, which is lie, right, which is a lie. So these devils, the so-called white man, they're about to suffer great judgment for blasphemy. Blasphemy, there is no forgiveness of this. And this is why the wicked are going to be made extinct. It says, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. The saints are the Israelites that are prophesying. And to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. Right? So Esau is coming down with these United Nations under the European Union with NATO, right, against the Israelites. So now, them doing that, how are they going to go to war against us? By making that implantable microchip mandatory coming out of America, and then it'll be pushed throughout the whole world. It says in verse 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And you got to remember, this is John the Revelator on the island of Patmos getting a vision, and he's pretty much writing it down as he saw it. And we're able to break this vision down now in these last days because it was prophesied that the scriptures, they shall speak, right? So this beast system is here in 2023, and they're bringing out the mark of the beast, the implantable microchip, which they're going to make mandatory for buying and selling, which we've been told not to accept, right? So that makes us an enemy of the state immediately, especially because we're teaching that the Bible condemns this act. So they're going against us because we have that testimony. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and they had two horns like a lamb, the Republican and the Democrat. Which, what is this? The Michigan House passes. What is that house filled with? A body of Republicans and Democrats. So-called Caucasians. The wicked. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. This is them speaking as a dragon. Because what are they going to do to, they tell you that they want to kill majority of the population, starting with you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Right? It says in verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So this is how they're going to try to force you by deceiving you, all right? To make you think that you have to do it. There's no other way, right? That's them twisting your arm, all right? But you're going to have to make the decision whether you die and, in your innocence, or you take that shit and be condemned by it, all right? But the Lord, he's already written the story, so everybody's already got their lot. The elect, though, we're going to be eating the fruits of our lips. We're going to actually be seeing miracles, which we see them every day, but greater miracles, which is going to show us our salvation. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. All right, it says 13, let me get 14:9. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark, in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh and his son Yahushai, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So if you take that, you're going to be destroyed with the wicked. And that nuclear destruction was created for the wicked and their angels, for their military that is going to fight against Jerusalem. Now going back to Isaiah 57, verse 21, there is no peace, saith my power, to the wicked. And why? Because we're out here crying aloud. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. Okay? So that's why the wicked is coming down with great wrath, knowing that they have but a short time. They see what's happening. They're watching our videos, right? They're seeing the numbers increase that are of the believing body of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. They say that I was watching this ex-CIA that he was talking about the CBDC and how it's a terrible thing. And the man himself, he said that the government is always looking for a way to increase their power. That's why the CBDC is to increase their knowledge of what you're doing. And he was explaining that the CIA, if they got somebody they're watching, they know more about them than they know about themselves because they're watching everything you do, right? You're doing things that you don't even really know you're doing. It's just through habit. And they learn these habits through watching you and studying you. They have teams doing it, right? So they know that there's a great awakening happening, of Israelites learning this truth and coming to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai in repentance because of the men that he has set up on the earth, the prophets, the two witnesses in this generation, to warn Israel of their sins so that they could prepare themselves for the return of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. And the devil, the so-called white man, has a problem with it. So he thinks he's going to be able to fight Yahushai. But when they come against us with great wrath, right, the Lord's going to turn their own hearts against each other. Okay? It says in Revelation 17, and this is dealing with the destruction of America. It says, verse 14, these, which is dealing with the European Union and America, the whore, it says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lambs, and how is he going to make war with the Lamb? They're going to attack the Israelites, right? And they're going to persecute us, and then the Lord's going to lead the world into a World War III, which is going to lead to the nuclear destruction of America. And then the Lord's also going to destroy the armies of the world, which are gathered in our land, Israel, right? It says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, which he already done by dying on the cross and being resurrected. All that power was given to him. So now he's just coming, he gave us enough time for the terror and the wheat to grow together, and he's going to separate the righteous to the right hand and the wicked to the left and destroy the wicked in that lake of fire. And that's what that implantable microchip is for. And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. So we can't agree to taking an implantable microchip, even if it means our children dying, us losing the right from operating in society, us, losing our right from being parents because they want to take our kids, right? Us, anything they take from us, it's not worthy of going against Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. So it's better to die faithful to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, live or die being faithful to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, and fuck the devil, the so-called white man. Because the Lord is going to come down on his head with great wrath. All right? Because he's going to come down on us. The Lord is going to come down on him. All right? It says, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, which you have the United Nations headquarters in America. Right? America's a melting pot of people. All right? The Lord is going to destroy this whore by fire. And all them that fight against us, they're going to be here in that lake of fire. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai have put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai shall be fulfilled. Right? So the Lord, he commanded us to go out and preach. Now there will come a time, like I showed you in the scripture, it tells you that there's a famine, and that famine is because there can't be shown no mercy to these 2/3. And hearing this word, them hearing that they're Israelites and there's a future for them, is an act of mercy. So that mercy is going to be cut off from the world, right? And these 2/3 that are in bed with the devil, the so-called white man, the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, they're going to have to suffer this punishment with no mercy, without mixture. So the Lord is going to remove the word from the table, right? And it's judgment time, which it's already happening. Just what was it, yesterday, 2:30 in the morning, I heard about it later, but my sister's husband and their family, they live in these condos, these apartments, and they actually had a woman, which they said she was a witch. She was a Jake woman, though. She was a witch, and she stabbed her daughter, in the head with a knife. And they said it was probably like a demonic fit that she was going through, being possessed, literally. That's what they told the residents what happened. Because we're in these last days, and you got these devils, the so-called white men, doing all kinds of sacrifices, human sacrifices. They're drinking more blood than ever, right? They're raping children more than ever, right? They're trafficking hundreds of thousands of kids in, just like relentlessly. They're getting raped, they're getting ate, their blood is getting drank, right? Because this devil is trying to summon some kind of power to try to defeat Yahweh and his son Yahushai and the Israelites, which the angels come with Yahushai to fight against the devil and his angels. But our battle is right here in this spiritual war of teaching this truth. Romans 10 verse 9, that if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Yahushai, and shalt believe in thine heart that Yahweh hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. For with the heart man believeth unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. See, so they're trying to take away our salvation by making this hate speech bill. The so-called white man is trying to shut us up, right? It tells you in Psalms 83 that they are confederate against thee. It says, verse 2, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They that hate thee is the Edomite, the so-called white man, the serpent. They have taken crafty. Why crafty? Because they're the serpent. They're crafty serpent in the Garden of Eden. It was that so-called white man. It says they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, right? Against the Israelites, and consulted against thy hidden ones, which they hate Judah the worst, the so-called black man. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, right? How are they doing that? Through their bills. We don't want you teaching the Bible no more, right? No, they don't want no one to hear about Yahushai through the word of Yahweh, because they don't want you to wake up that you're the Israelites. It says, that's why this place is spiritual Egypt. What did Egypt do when Moses and Aaron came to prophesy? Right? Pharaoh said, who is this Yahweh? That's what America's doing. Who is this Yahweh? Who is this Yahushai? That we have to respect you. Right? But the Lord said, do no harm to my anointed. Touch not my anointed. Because the Lord's going to touch your flesh. He's going to touch your children's flesh. And he's going to allow the Israelites to do it. It says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So they want to kill the Israelites that are prophesying. The ones that believe they're Israelites. For they consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Right? So let's go to 2nd Ezra. And why are they against us? Because we're prophesying their downfall and Kwam Yasharallah, or the rise of Israel. Let's see. 2nd Ezra. Salaki, I forgot where I was going with this one. Came back. So I'll wrap it up with this. I read this already, but I want to bring it back with this because this is the time we're in. 2nd Ezra 16, verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Right? They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses, which this is the plan of the wicked, which the Lord said in 2nd Ezra 15, verse 3, fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. All right? Behold, saith the Lord, I, Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So the Lord is controlling that sword, the so-called white man. It says, then, 2nd Ezra 16, verse 73, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire, test for your purity. You got to remember, too, it tells you in Isaiah 54. No, let me go up to the 16. It says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. So the Lord created the devil, the sword, and he blessed him with the sword for a purpose, and he has given him a great sword. And I have created the waster to destroy, and that waster being that nuclear missile, it's going to waste away the devil, the so-called white man, and his kingdom that are in America. The remnant of Edom that survive the nuclear destruction of America is going to be put in slavery, and for 1,000 years they're going to be enslaved. All right? It says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth in the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, which he destroys, and I have created the waster to destroy. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, not the so-called white man, not the implantable microchip, not the second death, the nuclear destruction of America. And every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. Just like these devils, abab, mashapayim, kal arawamyam, wa gawayim, wa abab, baba kusha, Yahweh Sham Yahushai, wa the water Yahweh Sham Yahushai, because he hears our prayer, right? Which I just said, abab, which is pretty much bring evil on Babylon, right? And Babylon is America, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to curse Babylon by telling the truth of its wicked deeds under the so-called white race, which is the red devil, the so-called white man, the wicked. It says, Once again, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, saith Yahweh. Right? So our righteousness is not of our own. It's of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And we condemn you by your wicked deeds. Right? The wicked know this too. In Wisdom of Solomon 2. This is dealing with the ungodly. It says, in verse 12, therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn. And we're not. Fuck Esau. The sooner the better that this devil goes down. Fuck him. It says, because he is not for our turn. Shit, even the sharks. I saw a video. This freaking shark jumped out of the water to grab an Edomite that was on like a scientist that was on a canoe. Right? He almost took him. There's all kinds of animal attacks right now on these so-called Caucasians, because the earth is against this devil right now. It says, he is clean contrary to our doings. We don't participate in his abominations. He upbraideth us. We throw him out of his throne with our offending the law. We freaking point out the wickedness that they're doing, which is being reported to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And just like I read in Isaiah 10, they're woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. So they're bringing their blood is upon their own head. They can't blame us. This is your problem. This is your pride that you're drunk in. This is your shame that you got to swallow in. It says, he upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objective to our infamy. It says, and objective to our infamy the transgressings of our education. He professeth to have the knowledge of Yahweh, and he calleth himself the child of Yahweh, right? Through Yahushai, right? Because this starts with Yahushai. Yahushai came and did this, and we're walking in that path of Yahushai. So there'll be a day where they take us and arrest us, right? And throw us in jail and put us before the governors and the judges and talk down on us and say they have all this crime that we've committed that is nothing but lies. And they're going to try to justify putting us to death, okay? Through the guillotine or whatever fashion they want to do it in, right? Which the Bible prophesies of being beheaded, right? But when the apostles were on the earth, they were, different ways were they killed by the government. And that's what Esau's done. He sharpened that sword, right? The devil, the so-called white man, being a sword, he's being sharpened in different ways of killing people, right? That's what is in the FEMA camps. They're torture chambers. That's what America is one big-ass FEMA camp full of torture chambers, all right, under the wicked, the so-called white man. And he's about to reveal his horns when he transfers this fiat currency over to the CBDC and eventually into the implantable microchip, which is the wallet for a currency that is digital. All right, so they come together, one, like a hand in a glove. The CBDC is eventually going to lead to the implantable microchip, whether it's immediately or whether it's a year down the road. Either way, it's going to lead to that implantable microchip, and that's the hour of temptation. And the Lord is going to destroy America with nuclear missiles after that prophecy is fulfilled of them making it mandatory worldwide for buying and selling. Abba, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa Abba.